It's not failure that destroys most people's dreams. It's the fear of what might happen if they even try. Millions go to their graves with their music still inside them, not because they couldn't, but because they would. Today, I'm going to expose the silent assassin of ambition. The fear that has stolen more dreams than poverty, rejection, or even bad luck fear is the most cunning and persistent enemy you will ever face on the road to your dreams. It will not shout at you. It will not attack you openly. Instead, it works quietly, slipping into your mind like a thief in the night, stealing your confidence, draining your courage, and robbing you of the priceless opportunities that could have changed your life forever. You will not even realize it is there until you look back years later and wonder why you never took the shot, why you never chased the idea, why you never gave yourself the chance to win. The most dangerous thing about fear is that it convinces you it is your friend. It whispers in your ear that it is protecting you, that it is saving you from disappointment, from embarrassment, from failure. And because it speaks in the soft voice of caution, you listen, you accept it, you obey it. Yet what you fail to see in those moments is that fear is not protecting you, it is imprisoning you. Every time you allow fear to hold you back, you lock another door in the house of your potential. Think about how many dreams are lost, not because they were impossible, but because someone simply never started. The opportunity was there. The skill could have been learned. The resources could have been gathered. But fear took the wheel and steered them into the safe lane, the lane where nothing grows, nothing changes, nothing truly fulfills the soul. And here's the tragedy. You can recover from failure, but you cannot recover the years you gave to fear. Time spent standing still is time you will never get back. Every great achievement in history was born on the other side of fear. The great leaders, the inventors, the visionaries, they felt fear too. Do not make the mistake of thinking courage means the absence of. No, courage is the decision to act in spite of it. The difference between the person who lives a life of greatness and the person who lives a life of quiet regret is not talent, luck, or even intelligence. It is simply the willingness to step forward while the voice of fear is screaming, stop. Fear thrives on inaction. The longer you delay, the stronger it becomes. It feeds on your hesitation. It grows every time you turn away from the opportunity to push yourself beyond your current limits. But the moment you take decisive action, fear begins to lose its grip. Even small steps forward weaken its power because action proves to your mind that the threat you imagined was never as great as you believed. The world is filled with people who had the skill, but not the will. They had the idea, but not the nerve. They had the desire, but not the determination to challenge the fear that told them, you're not ready. And so they stay in the same place year after year, blaming circumstances, waiting for the right time, never realizing that the right time never comes. Opportunities rarely come wrapped in perfect conditions. They come disguised as challenges, wrapped in uncertainty, surrounded by doubt. Fear will tell you that uncertainty is danger. But the truth is that uncertainty is where all growth lives. It is in the unknown that you discover your strength, your creativity, your capacity to do more than you ever thought possible. If you avoid the unknown, you avoid your destiny. If you want to live the life you were meant to live, you must strip fear of its disguise. You must learn to see it for what it truly is, the enemy of progress. You must recognize that every time you yield to fear, you are handing over your power, your future, and your dreams to something that exists only in your imagination. And you must decide right now that no thief will rob you of what is yours. Fear may knock at your door every day, but you do not have to invite it in. Fear has a way of painting pictures in your mind that are far more terrifying than reality will ever be. Long before you take the first step toward a goal, fear has already built a stage in your imagination where the worst possible outcome plays on repeat. It magnifies failure before it even has the chance to exist, showing you visions of loss, humiliation, and disaster so vivid that you begin to believe they are inevitable. And so you stop before you start, convinced that the story has already been written and you are destined to lose. The mind is a powerful creator. It can produce images that inspire you to climb mountains or ones that chain you to the ground. Fear understands this and uses it against you. It feeds you false evidence in the form of what-if questions. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I lose everything? The danger lies in the fact that these thoughts feel real. The body responds as though the failure has already happened. Your heart races, your hands sweat, your resolve weakens, all of this without you ever taking a single action. You see, failure in reality is rarely as devastating as failure in the mind. When you fail in real life, you can learn, you can adapt, you can try. But when fear magnifies failure in your imagination, it freezes you in place. There is no lesson, no progress, only paralysis. And that paralysis robs you of the very experiences that could have shaped your future for the best. It is worth remembering that the mind is not predicting the future, it is inventing it. Those terrifying images have no more substance than a shadow on a wall. But if you treat them as truth, they will dictate your actions as surely as if they were fact. Fear has no actual power except the power you give it through belief. If you believe the picture it paints, you live according to its limits. Many people live their entire lives like this, allowing fear to write the script before they've even begun. They make decisions not on what is possible, but on what is comfortable. They choose the known over the unknown, not because the unknown is dangerous, but because fear has convinced them that danger is certain. And so their lives remain small, not for lack of talent or opportunity, but because their imagination has been hijacked by fear's propaganda. The truth is, the what-if questions can work for you instead of against you. If you turn them around, what if it works? What if I succeed? What if this vision opens the door to something greater than I ever imagined? The mind can project images of triumph just as easily as it can project images of defeat. The choice is yours, which set of images you will focus on. There will always be risk in pursuing anything worthwhile. That is a fact. But risk and failure are not the same thing. Failure is a moment in time. Risk is the price of admission to every great achievement. The more you allow fear to magnify the possibility of failure, the more you shrink from the very risks that could lead you to your break. Yet the moment you start magnifying the possibility of success instead, you will find your energy changes. You will begin to move with purpose instead of hesitation. Understand this. Most of the pain people fear is only an illusion. Most of the disaster scenarios they imagine will never happen. And even if they do happen, they will be smaller, shorter, and easier to recover from than the mind has led them to believe. But the dream that dies because it was never pursued, that loss is real, permanent, and far more costly than any failure could ever be. Do not let fear magnify failure in your mind until it becomes larger than the dream itself. That something is faith, faith in a definite purpose, faith in a goal so clear and powerful that it commands your thoughts and drives your actions no matter how loud fear tries to speak. When you have a purpose that burns in your heart, fear becomes background noise. You hear it, but it no longer directs your steps. A definite purpose acts like a compass. It points you in one direction and reminds you where you are going, even when storms hit and the path is unclear. Without it, you drift. And when you drift, fear takes over because an idle mind has no anchor. It begins to think of everything that could go wrong instead of everything that could go right. But when your purpose is definite, your energy has a target, and your focus leaves less room for fear to grow. The reason so many people are trapped by fear is not because they lack courage, but because they lack clarity. They have vague wishes instead of defined goals. And when your vision is vague, fear will always seem bigger than your dream. But when your purpose is definite, when you can see it, describe it, and feel it, your mind begins to work for it. Every decision becomes a question of, will this move me closer to my goal or farther away? That kind of clarity transforms hesitation into momentum. Faith in your definite purpose is not blind optimism. It is built on the belief that if you commit yourself fully, take consistent action, and refuse to quit, you will find a way forward. This faith turns obstacles into stepping stones. You no longer see challenges as proof that you should stop. You see them as part of the process. And because you expect obstacles, you are not surprised by them. You work through them instead of shrinking away from them. When you have that kind of faith, fear begins to lose its authority over your life. It cannot control someone whose mind is occupied with possibility, vision, and the relentless pursuit of a goal. Your energy shifts from worrying about what might go wrong to building what must go right. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what must I do to succeed? This is the point where fear becomes irrelevant. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer determines your decisions, History is filled with examples of men and women who were not the most talented, not the most educated, not the most experienced, but they had a purpose that would not let them rest. They had a reason so strong it carried them through ridicule, rejection, and repeated setbacks. Their faith in that purpose created a resilience that no amount of fear could match. And in the end, it wasn't luck that brought them success. It was the unshakable belief that they were meant to achieve it. If you allow fear to fill your vision, it will always seem bigger than you. But if you allow your definite purpose to fill your vision, fear will always seem smaller. This is why your first task is not to eliminate fear, but to strengthen your purpose. Build it so clearly in your mind that you can see it when you close your eyes, so vividly that you can describe it to anyone at any time, so powerfully that the thought of not pursuing it is more frightening than the thought of faith. When faith in your purpose becomes the dominant force in your mind, fear no longer has the final word. Fear will always be part of the human experience, but it does not have to be the author of your story. The real tragedy is not in failing. It is in never daring to try because you allowed fear to stand guard at the gates of your destiny. The dreams you carry were not given to you by accident. They are invitations to become the person you are capable of being. Every step you take toward them weakens fear's grip, and every moment you delay strengthens it. The choice is yours right now, in this moment. You can keep waiting for the perfect time, or you can decide that the perfect time is the one you create. Step forward with purpose, act in spite of the trembling, and let your faith speak louder than your fear.